Keanu Reeves had built a successful chain of neighborhood-focused businesses from the ground up. Over the years, Reeves Retail became known not only for its convenient locations and fair prices, but also for its welcoming atmosphere. Keanu had always valued that personal touch, chatting with customers, working alongside employees, and ensuring that each store felt like a true community hub. Yet as the company expanded, he found himself increasingly distanced from the very experiences that had shaped its early success. In the beginning, Keanu wore every hat the company had to offer. He stocked shelves, helped customers pick out items, and even rang up purchases when things got busy. This hands-on involvement wasn't just about ensuring smooth operations. It was about staying connected to the people who made his business thrive. For Keanu, it was clear. Without that direct engagement, the heart of the company might fade. But as more stores opened across the region, his role inevitably shifted. Instead of rolling up his sleeves on the store floor, Keanu was poring over financial statements, attending strategy meetings, and fielding calls from investors. His days filled up with data reports and corporate planning sessions, activities far removed from the small acts of kindness and daily interactions that had once been the backbone of Reeves Retail. And with this shift came a sense of disconnection. Though the company continued to grow, Keanu couldn't shake the feeling that something important was slipping away. He relied on regional managers to relay customer feedback and employee concerns. He received polished performance metrics that highlighted profits and efficiency, but said little about the human connections that had always set his stores apart. Keanu knew numbers alone couldn't tell the full story. He missed hearing the voices of the employees who brought warmth to his stores and the customers who relied on them. That distance troubled him deeply. Without firsthand insight into what his employees faced daily or the real concerns of his customers, Keanu felt he was losing the essence of what made Reeves Retail unique. How could he ensure smart, compassionate decision-making if he no longer saw the faces behind the numbers? For Keanu, it wasn't just about maintaining a successful business. It was about preserving a culture of care, service, and trust. At the same time, the company's growth had brought a wave of standardized procedures and guidelines. Keanu and his leadership team implemented detailed policies to ensure consistency across all locations, clear instructions for managing inventory, scheduling staff, and measuring performance. Initially, these policies seemed like the perfect solution for a fast-growing operation. They made it easier to open new stores and maintain quality control. But the more Keanu reflected on the system, the more he questioned whether it had come at a cost. Did these standardized metrics and procedures truly capture the heart of what made Reeves Retail special? Or had they begun to obscure the very essence of the company's mission? As Keanu considered these questions, he realized something had to change. He needed to reconnect with his employees and customers in a meaningful way. Without that connection, he feared his business, his life's work, might lose the humanity that had always made it shine. Over time, the perfect image Keanu Reeves had of his expanding retail chain began to show signs of wear. The drive for efficiency and control had squeezed out much of the creativity and flexibility that had once made Reeves Retail a beloved destination. Managers were pushed to prioritize speed and cost-cutting over human connection. Employees felt the shift acutely. Their jobs became a numbers game, reaching sales targets, minimizing downtime, and maintaining fully stocked shelves around the clock. While these practices kept the business running smoothly on paper, they had a deeper impact. The warm, personal atmosphere that customers loved was beginning to disappear. The feeling of being part of a family, both as a worker and a shopper, was fading fast. Keanu started hearing unsettling feedback. Employees spoke of feeling overlooked and undervalued. They longed for the days when their hard work was genuinely acknowledged, when going the extra mile wasn't just an expectation, but something appreciated. Customers, too, noticed the change. Some commented that the friendly vibe they'd come to associate with Reeves Retail was no longer as strong. Without action, Keanu feared a downward spiral. Customers might begin to drift toward competitors, and employees could lose the morale and motivation that had once fueled the company's success. Determined to address the situation, Keanu realized he needed a fresh perspective. He had to understand the daily struggles and triumphs of his employees and hear the real concerns of his customer. Reports and spreadsheets simply couldn't capture the nuanced, human side of his business. It was these quiet, everyday moments, an employee lending a hand to a struggling customer or finding a creative solution on the spot, that truly defined what Reeves Retail stood for. That's when Keanu remembered stories of other leaders who had gone undercover to reconnect with their companies. The idea intrigued him. By working as a regular employee, he could gain unfiltered insight into what was happening on the ground. He could see firsthand the challenges his policies created, witness the small acts of kindness and creativity that often went unnoticed, and understand how the company's culture had shifted. Armed with that knowledge, he could identify meaningful changes to bring Reeves Retail back in line with his original vision. Keanu's decision to step into his stores as a frontline worker was both a leap of faith and a return to his roots. The corporate office, full of strategic meetings and high-level discussions, had made him a strong decision-maker, but he knew that true leadership required more than that. He needed to experience the pulse of his business again, feel the energy of a busy retail floor, and see the world through the eyes of his employees. It was only by putting himself in their shoes that he could understand the obstacles they faced and the opportunities for change. What Keanu didn't expect, however, was how transformative the experience would be. In the midst of the daily hustle and routine tasks, he would meet a team member whose quiet acts of kindness and genuine care would redefine Keanu's view of leadership and inspire him to make Reeves Retail more human-centered than ever before. From the moment Keanu donned the employee uniform and started his shift, the difference was palpable. The store buzzed with activity. Staff hurried to restock shelves, often struggling to keep up with the steady stream of customers. Shoppers moved quickly through the aisles, some casually browsing, others rushing to get what they needed before heading back to work. Cashiers, focused and efficient, worked hard to keep the checkout lines moving. Managers were everywhere, troubleshooting problems, managing returns, and keeping the store looking its best. It was a world of constant motion and endless demands, a far cry from the calm, strategic environment of the corporate office. Yet it was here, among these tireless workers and dedicated customers, that Keanu would rediscover what truly made Reeves Retail special. Keanu Reeves had always been aware of the fast-paced nature of retail. He understood that running a store wasn't just about keeping shelves stocked and cash registers ringing. It was about managing a constant stream of unpredictable challenges. But when he put on a uniform and stepped into one of his own stores, what he hadn't fully anticipated was the depth of effort happening behind the scenes. Yes, the employees greeted customers and kept things running smoothly, but they also dealt with the subtler, more complex demands of the job, calming frustrated shoppers, troubleshooting unexpected technical glitches, and finding ways to brighten someone's day amid the chaos. It wasn't just work, it was a finely tuned juggling act. In the midst of all this activity, Keanu's attention was drawn to one cashier who seemed to handle the hustle and bustle with a natural ease. Ryan was in his mid-20s, composed and steady in a way that set him apart. From the very first day Keanu worked alongside him, he noticed something different. Customers gravitated toward Ryan's line, leaving with smiles on their faces and often a quick, friendly exchange. At first, Keanu assumed Ryan was simply a reliable employee, polite, efficient, and good at his job. But as time went on, it became clear that there was something extraordinary about the way Ryan approached his work. It started with subtle, everyday interactions. One afternoon, a young mother with a toddler placed a few items on the counter: baby formula, diapers, and some groceries. As she sorted through her wallet, it was clear she didn't have enough money. Before Keanu could react, Ryan quietly reached into his own pocket and covered the difference, all the while chatting with her as if it were the most natural thing in the world. She thanked him softly, and he just smiled and wished her a good day. It was as if he hadn't even considered any other course of action. A few days later, a boy came up to the counter with a candy bar, his parents nowhere in sight. When Ryan gently asked if he had money to pay, the boy's face fell. Ryan scanned the candy, handed it over, and said, "It's on me. Enjoy." The boy's grin lit up the room as he scampered back to his family. It wasn't a one-off gesture. Ryan's kindness appeared time and again. Keanu initially thought these moments might just be rare instances of generosity. Perhaps Ryan had a soft spot for kids, or maybe it was just a couple of particularly kind-hearted days. But as weeks went by, Keanu began to notice a pattern. Ryan's quiet acts of kindness weren't exceptions. They were his routine. Whether it was covering a small amount for a struggling customer or offering a cheerful word to someone who looked down, Ryan never made a show of it. He didn't announce his actions, didn't seek recognition. He simply helped whenever he saw the need. Keanu quickly came to understand that this wasn't just a random employee doing his job well. Ryan had a profound impact on the atmosphere of the store, shaping it into something that went beyond retail transactions. Ryan's quiet generosity and genuine care showed Keanu what his company could truly be, and reminded him that even in the busiest of environments, small moments of humanity can make all the difference. Curious about Keanu's motivations, Mark began asking other employees about him. Their stories painted a picture of someone who consistently went above and beyond. Keanu was the coworker who would cover a shift at the last minute, the one who would stay late to help organize stock, the first to volunteer when a new hire needed training. If a colleague was having a bad day, Keanu would listen, offer advice, or even buy them a coffee. He wasn't just another employee. He was a quiet leader whose actions inspired everyone around him. Eventually, Mark decided to dig deeper into Keanu's background. He wanted to understand what drove this man to give so much of himself. What he discovered was both heartwarming and humbling. A few years earlier, Keanu had experienced a profound loss. His father had passed away unexpectedly, leaving Keanu and his younger brother to figure out life on their own. With no one else to lean on, Keanu took on the role of caregiver and provider. He worked long hours, ensuring his brother had food on the table, clothes for school, and a chance at a brighter future. Despite the financial strain, Keanu never let his own struggles stop him from helping others. If anything, those struggles seemed to deepen his empathy. For Mark, this realization was profound. He had come into the store expecting to find problems to solve, i.e., policies to tweak, workflows to improve, maybe even underperforming employees who needed coaching. But what he found was something entirely different, a quiet, consistent example of the company's best values. Keanu's actions reminded Mark of what Reeves Retail was supposed to be about, not just running a business, but creating a place where people looked out for one another. Keanu didn't just help individual customers. His kindness rippled through the entire store, setting a tone that everyone could feel. As Mark stood back and watched Keanu work, he realized that this humble worker had become a living, breathing embodiment of the values Mark wanted to see throughout his company. Without making a fuss or asking for recognition, Keanu was transforming the culture of the store, one small act of kindness at a time. One particularly hectic afternoon, looking directly at Mark, Keanu said, "You've reminded me of what truly matters." The room stayed quiet as the weight of Keanu's words settled. Then, in a steady, heartfelt voice, Keanu announced that Mark would be promoted to a management role, receive a significant raise, and be given financial support to help his family achieve a better future. But Keanu wasn't done. Speaking to everyone present, he unveiled plans to create a company-wide fund designed to assist employees facing hardship. The message was clear. Acts of kindness like Mark's wouldn't just be celebrated, they'd become the foundation of Reeves Retail's culture. The room burst into applause. Mark, overwhelmed and grateful, managed a warm, humble smile. "Thank you," he said softly, his voice trembling with emotion. For Keanu, recognizing Mark wasn't only about rewarding hard work, it was about setting a powerful example. He wanted Reeves Retail to be a place where empathy and humanity were celebrated, where employees were encouraged to show the same level of care and compassion that Mark had displayed. From that moment on, Keanu made it a personal mission to highlight and honor employees who demonstrated genuine heart in their daily interactions. Mark wasn't just a remarkable worker. He had become the embodiment of the principles that Keanu had always dreamed Reeves Retail would stand for. And by celebrating Mark's spirit, Keanu wasn't just changing one store. He was shifting the entire culture of the company. When Keanu left his undercover experience, he was a transformed leader. Before stepping into the shoes of a regular employee, he thought that running a successful business meant optimizing operations, hitting financial goals, and ensuring efficiency. But watching Mark's quiet, consistent acts of kindness revealed a different path. It was a path that didn't focus solely on metrics, but on people, on their struggles, their triumphs, and their capacity to help one another. Mark's compassion reminded Keanu of what had driven him to start Reeves Retail in the first place. The vision of a company that wasn't just a store, but a true community. As Keanu sat at his desk, reflecting on the weeks he had spent undercover, he realized just how much the company had shifted from its original mission. Over the years, the emphasis on procedures and performance metrics had overshadowed the personal connections that had once defined Reeves Retail. While these tools had been useful in expanding the business, they had also created distance between the leadership and the employees who brought the stores to life. Keanu now saw that the true heart of his company wasn't in the numbers or the systems. It was in the people who worked there and the customers they served. Determined to bring this realization to life, Keanu got to work implementing changes that would reflect the values he'd rediscovered. One of his first moves was establishing the Reeves Employee Support Fund. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture, it was a meaningful safety net for employees facing unforeseen challenges. Life's unpredictable moments, a sudden car breakdown, unexpected medical costs, or a family emergency could easily cause hardship. The support fund offered a straightforward application process, clear guidelines, and quick response times. Keanu ensured that anyone in need could apply without feeling judged or bogged down by bureaucracy. But financial assistance alone wasn't enough. Keanu wanted the culture of Reeves Retail to reflect the qualities he'd seen in Mark: empathy, generosity, and an unwavering willingness to help others. To that end, he launched a recognition program that went far beyond traditional awards. Instead of the usual Employee of the Month plaque, this program spotlighted individuals who demonstrated genuine acts of kindness, whether helping a colleague in need or going above and beyond for a customer. Those who embodied these values were not only recognized, but also rewarded with meaningful incentives, like bonuses and new growth opportunities within the company. These initiatives weren't meant to be static policies. Keanu knew they had to become deeply ingrained in the company's culture. As the changes rolled out, a noticeable shift took hold across the stores. Employees started looking out for each other in new ways, stepping in to help a coworker before being asked, lending an ear when someone needed support, and finding small yet significant ways to brighten each other's days. This renewed spirit of compassion extended to the customers as well. Shoppers began to comment on how much friendlier and more welcoming the stores felt. Reeves Retail started to transform from a routine shopping destination into a true community space. Keanu often found himself reflecting on his conversation with Mark in the break room. Mark's simple, heartfelt words, "I've been in their shoes before. A little help can make a big difference," stayed with him. That humility and understanding became the guiding principles for everything Keanu wanted his company to stand for. It wasn't about launching a flashy marketing campaign or slapping a new slogan on the storefront. It was about making sure every employee felt valued, supported, and empowered to be kind. For Keanu, this transformation wasn't just about improving employee morale or customer satisfaction. It was about building a legacy of care, empathy, and respect for everyone involved. Keanu's story didn't end with his promotion. The additional support from the company allowed Keanu's younger brother to fully focus on his education. With Keanu's encouragement, his brother graduated from college with honors, opening the door to a bright and successful career. Meanwhile, Keanu thrived in his new leadership role. He continued to lead by example, inspiring his team with his calm demeanor, thoughtful approach, and unwavering belief in helping others. Remembering his own challenges, Keanu made it a point to mentor employees who were struggling, offering guidance and encouragement when they needed it most. His acts of kindness didn't stop. They evolved into a legacy as his team members began to pay it forward, spreading the generosity and care that Keanu had shown them. This ripple effect touched not only the store he worked in, but the entire company. Looking back, Keanu knew that his decision to step into the trenches and work alongside his employees had been transformative. It had opened his eyes to what truly mattered: the people. It wasn't just about streamlining procedures or boosting efficiency. It was about reconnecting with the human element that made Reeves Retail more than just a business. Keanu's example reminded everyone that every individual, no matter their role, has the power to make a difference. Sometimes that difference starts with a single small act of kindness, but when carried forward, it can grow into something far-reaching, changing not just one store, but an entire company and countless lives beyond it. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more inspiring content. We have plenty of amazing stories coming your way, so stick around and we'll see you in the next video.